a level of freedom, knowing that all the pressure is really on Real Madrid to, to send us packing, so it's going to be interesting to see how they approach the game. But I really do want them to play with some level of freedom and confidence, because if we
What do you
don't,
mean by that?
I just think that when we overthink it, like, I think my biggest concern at the end of this tie would be if we look back and we're talking about the two legs and we can't remember any real chances that we had. We can't really remember times where we put them under pressure. Maybe we didn't score any goals, stuff like that. I would love for us to, at the very least, be able to talk about how we gave them a headache. If they go through, that is the expectation. But I don't want us to go out with a whimper. I don't want it to feel like it did, in the two legs against Porto and Bayern, where there were so limited moments from us in the final third that it was like, so what did we do for those 180 minutes? So it's one of those, I think we'll be written off by most people. And Thierry Henry was talking about it, and Kate Scott asked him, what do Arsenal need to do, or how do they prepare, whatever. And he, like, at first was like, I'm not answering, and then was like, if you don't have the confidence that you can get through, you might as well not even you might as well not even show up. And I do think that that's the best way to go about it. And he did speak about the last time that we did play against them in the Champions League, that we were looked at as the underdog. Now,
we had men though, man. Respectfully, not to sound that outdated, but we had men, like testosterone, high level intensity men. We've got boys at this moment.
It's still the same thing, though. I think the premise is it all applies the same, whether we have a Thierry Henry or not, whether we lack creativity or not. If you go to the Bernabeu and you don't feel like you even have a chance, don't go.
Belief is the first step.
Yeah, of course. And then just actually play. It's actually fucking play. Like, try to get your game off. Like, don't be afraid to take a man on or try something risky. The worst thing we could do is sit up at the halfway line, high line, pass it sideways and backwards, give away the ball, and they go right down and hit it in the back of the net.
So you think it's a psychological kind of two-legged tie above all?
I think a lot of it is psychological, but I also think it's tactical and how Arteta sets us up. If he sets us up like he usually does, where we have all the ball and it's just going to take one mistake from us to concede a goal, we will get slapped. I really do think that we don't have the types of players that can play 90 minutes against Real Madrid without making a single mistake in possessing the ball at 60-70% of the ball. That's not going to work. So he has to approach it differently. I would love to see at the end of the game that we had 30%. I think we're at our best when we have less of the ball. I really do. I think when we have more of it, we make too many mistakes. We saw it even yesterday. We made 2 mistakes on the ball, try to play out from the back, and they scored twice. So what do you think Real Madrid is going to do to you? So it's all about how we set up. But we are the underdogs, and that should give us a level of, whoosah. It's not like last season where people are like, you should be beating this shitty Bayern team, and then we go out. It's different, so it is going to be really interesting, and probably, it'll be scary, but it'll be fun, I think, for me to see Saliba and Gabriel go up against some of the best attackers in the world, because I think that they are more
fullbacks as well. Don't forget, potentially Calafiori, Lewis Skelly up against the plethora of talent, and Timber or Benjamin White. I've got more faith in our defense. If I'm honest,
I think they're more than equipped to show that they are as good as we think that they are. I want to see it. I am more than confident that maybe we will concede, but I think they'll put up a really, really good fight and show their levels. Gabriel is playing out of this world this season. He is clear our player of the season. And I would love for a player that's always written off and never is considered the best, I want to see him perform against the best so that we could go like, okay. Because I don't know why we're not having conversations about Gabriel like we should. He is world class, and I'm standing 10 toes down. He is. He just is.
How do you feel about the approach then? Because in fact, first thing actually, the first thing I want to ask you, smash the like button and subscribe to Jess. The link is in the title, by the way, folks. Don't be lazy. It's a two-legged tie of sorts. We're here and then we're going over there. The first thing I want to ask you, because obviously you're a content creator. Above all, you're an Arsenal fan, Obviously, we know we're playing Real Madrid, but I'm sure you had them discussions, Atletico, Real, which one would you rather? Some people, I would have rathered Atletico because they're a good team and it's difficult, don't get it twisted, but it's not Real Madrid. It's not the experienced Carlo Ancelotti who they can press well, they can sit off you, they've got individual brilliance. But there were many people that said they would have preferred Real Madrid. Was you one of those?
Yeah, I was. I did.
Damn. So you need to let us know your thoughts. Damn.
Yeah, because it's not from a give me Real Madrid.
Bring on Real Madrid.
No, it's not that at all. Like, it's not coming from it. Just because you wanted to get Real Madrid doesn't mean you're deluded. Like, let's just take Real Madrid. No, I just personally think that going up against Simeone is like going for machine for machine for a team that tries to do very similar things to us.
Surely that sorts us though. Suits us. Sorry,
I don't think it does.
Lower mid block stinking out the place. Rather than an open game where we don't move the ball quick enough or control the fan margins.
I don't think it suits us. I just don't. I think we need the game to be a little bit more open. I think we need a team to attack us. And I don't think Atletico would just sit back in a deep block, but they're too defensively sound and they're too they're not arrogant enough as Real Madrid would just open up and just play their game. I do think that they would try to stunt us with a mid-low block. And no matter what, we are not good at breaking down mid to low blocks. But I don't think Real Madrid is going to have as much respect for us as they had for Manchester City when they went to the Etihad and sat in. They're not going to sit in against us in either leg. Not one. They're going to go say, we got this. And so I don't want to see us go machine for machine and try to go up against the master of what we try to do, because they have better players at the top end. It's just not going to work. So for the sake of the spectacle and the sake of Arsenal getting openings that we're going to need, and hopefully we don't have to sit at the halfway line and try to pass it sideways and backwards. Hopefully that helps us, but it's not about give us Real Madrid. We are not going to beat Simeone at his own game. We're just not.
Do you see Arteta changing anything for that game? Because there's, some would say maybe go to a back three, potentially put Martinelli through the middle, or do you think it's going to be same old?
What do you think?
And listen, you are the guest. You're the one they want to hear from. They see me all the time. We want to hear your thoughts.
Arteta's not going to change anything. He's hard-headed.
Stubborn, very stubborn man. And I don't think anything's going to change, man. Where do you think it comes down to? Because many people would say the home fixture. I can't speak for Mikel Arteta, but I think in his post-game comments, immediately he started talking about the atmosphere and all of these kind of things. Where do you think it's won or lost between the two legs?
I mean, I think if I don't even know. I feel like I would love to say that if we get a good performance at home, it would help us, but I just don't sense the Emirates being the type of cauldron that it would need to be for us to.
You don't think Madrid will be scared of North London forever?
But people have to remember last season we got the home leg first, and Bayern couldn't even have fans, and they still walked away with a draw. So Arsenal, the Emirates is not a fortress. And I said that months ago, and people tried to cook me for it, pulling up all these stats about how we don't lose at home and we don't do this.
We've got a faultless record at the Emirates in the champ so far.
When it matters, it is not a fortress. It's just not. Look at the Aston Villa game this season, not a fortress.
Well, people are not scared to come to the Emirates. I think they're scared of Arsenal generally because we're a better team, but we're not Newcastle away. We're not Anfield. We're not the Bernabeu. It's not scary. Again, North London forever ain't scaring no one.
Yeah, I mean, we went out of both cups at home. We literally went out of both cups at home. We stunk it out against Newcastle at home, and then we turned around and pulled our pants down against Manchester United like a couple days later. At home. Those were games at home. Again, do or die, have to get it done. So for me, it's the atmosphere and all that kind of stuff is not going to help us. It's all going to be about those 11 guys on the pitch being able to calm their nerves and to play their game. And ultimately, as simple as it sounds, if we're not clinical and they're clinical and we're making mistakes at the back and they're not, they will go through. And
He said
so
it himself, Arteta. He
let's
said
just
it's decided in both boxes. Now, I agree with what you're saying in that, ultimately the fine margins, all of that kind of stuff,
yeah.
we need to take our advantage. I have more faith in our defense. I don't think we can keep a clean sheet up for 180 minutes. I don't know if we're going to score goals. I'd be a lot more confident with the Havertzes and the Sakas being fit and etc. Before I ask you about Saka though, yeah, like what do you make of this? Because I think Brand Tales is saying something good. Like you alluded to the Bayern Munich game. Do
Hmm.
you feel like we've probably potentially learned our lessons from last year, and I would also say not just the players, but also the gaffer, Mikel Arteta?
I would love to think so, but
Inshallah.
we'll know. We'll know because we're now in the stage where we're playing up against a really, really good side. No offense to PSV, but they just weren't really anything for us to like, you know what I mean? Like they were whatever. So we'll know whether or not we learn our lessons. But, I just, in something like this, you just hope that we have the moments. And I'm maybe because we've been out of the competition for so long and we just got back in kind of like last season. I don't know. When I watch these games, most of the time against the better teams like Liverpool and PSG, when they went up against each other the other day, Atletico and Madrid yesterday, those games came down to moments. They just did. And even though Atleti didn't go through, they had so many moments defensively where their players just made the slide tackle or cleared it off the line or the
They're a
goalkeeper
defensive
made.
team and they went and scored within the first minute.
Yeah, they scored in the first minute. There was times where even like Rudiger saved them. We're not a moments team. We are a team that's like more geared towards like we kind of, chug along in our little routine. The
Some
Champions
say we're
League
more of a cup team though.
the Champions League comes down to moments, and we're not a moment side. We are very much so built around our patterns and our system and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's why we struggle in cup competitions because we can't move away from that and create the moments that we need to. The only players that I know of that consistently come up with big moments where is Raya with his saves, Gabriel, like, those clearances that just come from him just being like, fuck it. I don't want the ball to go in the back of the net. And Declan Rice. I feel like they have the moments, but when we start getting further up, ain't no moments, so, and that's all it is. It's just moments. There's systems and stuff, but I just see moments.
No, you're not lying. Like everyone's got tactics, and I think there's plenty to say about potentially Mikel Arteta, kind of what you're saying, learning his lessons from last season versus someone like Carlo. Obviously, we've got injuries which we'll get onto, but their players are not only good, able to take their moments, they've got the mentality. This one thing waffling about Bellingham and Mbappe and this one and that one. They got Vasquez, they got Diaz. They know how to do the dark arts thing like us. Their mentality monsters. I do think we need to walk out of the tie at the Emirates and go to the Bernabeu with a fighting chance, but then